Bollywood is the combined name of Bombay and Hollywood, the Hollywood of India. Bombay boasts of the largest film industry in the world, churning out approximately 900 films per year and a total of 27,000 feature films in its lifetime. Not only are Bollywood films an extremely powerful medium within India, they also enjoy popularity in parts of the Middle East, East Asia, and diasporic South Asian communities throughout the world. The bulk of Bollywood films produced are a mix of romance, drama, family themes, and a good sprinkling of songs and dances. Bollywood films serve as an extremely powerful medium that carry ideological messages and values, simultaneously reinforcing and challenging societal norms. Bollywood actors and actresses are revered amongst avid fans throughout the world. From Nargis to Aishwarya Rai, Bollywood actresses have etched themselves into the minds of those who watch these films. But what is Bollywood's relationship to these women? What roles have women been allowed to play in this popular film industry? And how accurately do they portray the lives of actual women? How have these representations changed over time? How do South Asian women watching Bollywood films negotiate and incorporate these images into their daily lives? In the past, women were either cast in the role of self-sacrificing mother or the supportive wife. There is also the daughter who remains innocent, childlike, and pure until she gets married. From the 1950s until the 1980s, there seems to be a clear-cut division between the good women and the bad women in Bollywood films. The good woman is long-suffering and chaste, willing to sacrifice for the good of her family and nation.
In the 50s and 60s, the woman was portrayed as a goddess who had no flaws and who was a perfect housewife and who had no other thoughts or no other feelings or desires.
The good woman embodies traditional Indian values, is draped in traditional Indian attire, and wears her hair long. She is coy, sweet, and needs protection from her male counterpart. In sharp contrast to this image of good woman is the vamp. The vamp or bad woman is depicted as westernized and sexually aggressive, ready to lead her men to ruin. The bad woman dances in clubs and wears revealing Western clothing. Helen, the infamous cabaret dancer, represented the quintessential Bollywood vamp with short red hair and an openly sexual demeanor. She broke all the rules of good womanhood.
Helen played beautiful roles in her time. They can't bring another Helen back in this time and age. Because even though she played, the dances and songs more to do with discos and bar related and all that, she was still very graceful in her. Even the dances, the music of that time, Helen, they haven't been able to bring anything like that.
These bad women often die at the end of the film, perhaps to underscore the fact that you pay with your life for having expressed too much sexuality. While this good girl, bad girl dichotomy was evident in earlier eras of Bollywood films, it appears that this rigid binary may be gradually collapsing.
Earlier, in the earlier films, you just had like the vamp, and you have the wife. And the wife would be in her sari, and you would have the vamp, who would be Helen. Like today, you have Madhuri Dixit being the vamp as well as the good woman. So you have like this coming together of what is supposedly was the bad and the good.
Actresses of today appear to express their sexuality in more overt ways than in the past, without compromising their morality. Even the good women of today wear revealing outfits and have some agency, which was not allowed to women from the past. The new Indian heroine can engage in taboo activities. She wears short dresses, tight leather pants, dances in clubs, and drinks openly, while still remaining the central heroine of the story. Despite these apparently transgressive trends, several of the most commercially successful films still conclude with the more modern, outspoken, and active female heroine eventually succumbing to familiar pressure and marrying her male lead. In other words, The good woman in Bollywood might be more modern, but her morality is still connected to her marital status. Hollywood films are made with a male audience in mind. It is useful to view the change in the roles and depictions of women through this male gaze. The male gaze is a patriarchal construction of women's behaviors and agency. It is the male gaze that controls how and for who a woman dresses, adorns her body, occupies space, and reveals or hides her sexuality, as the case may be. These women dance and sing for the pleasure of the men gazing at them. They are constructed as objects of male desire. In the late 1980s, along with the change in women's roles and the influence of westernization, we see a slight shift in the types of male gaze. There is now an imperialist male gaze that constructs the women as not only for the pleasure of men, but also as exotic, othered, often passive bodies. As a modern westernized woman, Urmila is constructed as a completely passive object of desire. Notice how the camera shots start with the static pose of Urmila's backside and the lack of movement, activity, and even speech in these shots. Urmila is sexually objectified because she shows no active sexuality or agency. Compare this to the more traditional scenes of Indian womanhood, where women have some agency and active sexuality, even if constructed within the larger context of the male gaze. The late 1980s, early 1990s saw a greater change in the depiction of women due to the larger political, economic changes in India. Market liberalization in India established an exchange of consumer products and beauty standards, among other changes, between India and the rest of the world. The cultural and commercial dominance of the West has resulted in a plural and powerful influence of Western ideas, consumerism, and cultural capital on India, some of which manifests in Bollywood films. India has become a beauty superpower, with increasing numbers of women from the subcontinent winning key international pageants. The recent spate of Indian women who have won international beauty pageants is numerous. There have been 6 since 1994, when Aishwarya Rai won Miss World. These international beauty pageants are largely judged on Western beauty standards, and the fact that most of these beauty pageant winners cross over into Bollywood films as actresses attests to these women's influence on the type of Indian actress currently being presented. Aishwarya Rai and Sushmita Sen, the two most well-known of this lot, represent this westernization of Indian female beauty standards.
Which is your favorite actress?
Aishwarya right now. I think she's beautiful, yeah.
Why?
No question.
Why do you think she's so beautiful?
She's going well with the new generation, but she has elegance.
I guess recently would be probably Aishwarya Rai, which is probably typical for almost everyone that watches it nowadays.
A noticeable shift has taken place with respect to the types of clothing worn by Bollywood actresses.
In previous days, in 50s, they are from toe to bottom, they are covered. Now, by the passage of time, they are smaller in clothes, they are on showing more bodies. So that is the change.
What do you think of women's, how they've evolved in Bollywood from the 50s and 60s to now?
They're hot now. I mean, earlier in the 50s you had, it's so great to watch Bollywood films now because you have like Madhuri Dixit and Karishma Kapoor. I mean, it's amazing because you just look at how women are just dressed, they're just like out there and they're sexy and they're hot. I just love watching them, watching women on screen now.
In addition, the female body type has gradually evolved into the extreme thinness that one finds in Western beauty magazines.
These days there's so much makeup, and to have a thick, skinny figure is considered beautiful. And in the old days, it was considered, if you're a woman, you have a voluptuous or curvy figure. But nowadays, the skinnier you are, the more sick you look, the more beautiful you're considered.
There were women with the real women with big thighs. Don't have to be big-breasted and so on. Big thighs, I mean, this is another women. We don't have to be put into a mold. And so these are women that I like. I mean, so now it seems like slender, thin, more Western anorexic women coming up.
Skin tone has and continues to play a central role in South Asia. The link between beauty and fairness is evidenced by the fact that beauty products promising the consumer a fair and lovely complexion are a multi-million-dollar industry.
A lot of the mainstream movies, which are viewed by most of the public, most of the public would crave to see like lighter skin and more American or Western features, and so their models like Aishwarya Rai, who has, being South Indian, yet she's very light skinned and has green eyes.
You have to be fair, you have to be thin, you have to be Bloomingdale, a certain kind of thing to be beautiful. And so between all that vanity that is kind of like perpetuated through these Miss Universe and all these other women.
What do you think of Fair and Lovely?
Fair and Lovely, I think that's colonial legacy. When you think the fairer you are, the more beautiful, which is so pathetic. But Fair and Lovely, I know what that is, but definitely.
How do you think it's correlated to film?
Well, I mean, if you look at like even the darkest women, recent years, I remember the woman who was in Bombay. These are dark-skinned women, but somehow when they come on the screen, they look fair and lovely. Then always that's appealing to the crowd, right? That's appealing to the crowd, but the crowd has been also conditioned to like those kind of fair-looking, straight-haired women.
Fair and Lovely cream is the most popular in India. If we put your face, then your grey face will turn to white.
So why do you think beauty might have been?
Actually, this question is related to the girls. So you should ask.
This question to be asked to girls. Why they want to be like beautiful? It's good. Everybody likes
ladies, not
me. Everybody likes to see beautiful girls.
Actually, this question is related to the girls and beautiful girls. So you should ask.
Why like beautiful girls? Why not even everybody likes beautiful girls?